I'm very grateful that I have children. I have two sons now who are 14 and 15. And I may have touched on this already, but, I was in a marriage that, didn't last nearly as long as, nobody goes into a marriage thinking it's not going to work. But out of it came two really great blessings. I remember being afraid with my upbringing that I probably wouldn't know how to be a good parent. And I think through having children, God has shown me that you can come from a family of dysfunction and you can actually make changes. And for me, similar to my spirituality where I had to pick and choose what I saw at home that resonated with what I knew was right in my heart to keep my spiritual self mature, the same thing happened with the parenting. And my parents were really good providers. I didn't really get that lovey-dovey, huggy-wuggy, kissy-wissy kind of love that, you see people have on the street. And I kind of cringe when I see people really lovey-dovey because it's just something I wasn't used to. But the way my family showed love was we were always there for each other when times were tough. So what I did was, I learned what to do and what not to do from both of my parents. And I'm probably a better parent as a single parent than I would be if I was married because, like I said, all I saw was two parents that bickered. On my own, I have more time to myself to feel what it is that I know my children need. And I don't need them to share, like if I were to have another partner, I don't think that I am qualified to bring a stepfather into my kid's life because I have to give them all of what I have because so much of me has been taken. But what I do is, I take what I remember that was good at home. Whenever I was sick, my mother was there with a bowl of soup. Whenever I needed something, the funds were there. So I make sure that my kids have what they need. But then there have been some things on the outside that I've had to learn, like how to say I love you and not have my lips turn up because it seems so uncomfortable when I say I love you because it's just something, I never grew up saying and it was never really said at home. Love was there, but it was in a kind of weird way. So I'm trying to make it seem normal when I hug my children. And they've gotten that from their dad's side of the family, but I have had to learn to embrace my kids physically. And it's something that I still am learning to do and making it part of who I am because it just was not part of my childhood. But I'm glad that I had boys. I don't know if I would have been as good a parent to daughters. I don't know if I would have been hyper overprotective like my mom was if I'd had girls. But I'm really happy that I had sons. And what I've done is, as I've raised my children, I have thrown my child in there with them, if that makes sense. But I've had to project my child onto my kids, and as I'm raising them I feel like I'm raising myself again, and it's sort of like I'm trying to fill in holes that I missed from my upbringing. So I looked at my kids when they were like 12 and 13 and I remembered what a difficult time that was for me, and I remember just being so happy that they weren't going through difficult things. I don't want my kids to ever remember or have memories of me being out of control or being physically aggressive or anything. So, I don't hit my children. Their hands have been popped or whatever. But I didn't like being abused. So I'm really careful about not doing things to my children that I know were really detrimental to me. So I feel like God's given me a chance to kind of heal myself and allowing me to be a parent and proving to me that I can leave that stuff in the past and do way, 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 way better with them. And I've just been really, really blessed. I don't know how much of it's by chance. I don't know how much credit to give my parents. I'm like, they must have done something right, But I think I learned what to do and what not to do from that experience with my parents and being raised in a dysfunction.